The millennials and their gadgets. Look at that. Perfect. Cool. No, I've got it here.
Oh, like this?
No, I've got one here. Cool. One more gadget. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Daniel Di Carvalho. I'm a member of the Global Cash Card cybersecurity team. Yes. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about nothing more or nothing less than security itself. A topic of utmost importance for us here at Global Cash Card. A topic which is present in our daily operations and everything we do and in everything we're made out of. So in order to begin, I'd like to share a piece of information with you guys. I've worked in many companies, worn many hats, in 2 different countries, in both the private and public sector. And I'm yet to see a company with such a proactive stance on security as Global Cash Card does. Whereas it's never a question of cost or effort, but rather they come up to you and say, what else can we do to make ourselves more secure? And guys, that proactiveness alone deserves a round of applause. Now guys, just a recap. I'm not a magician. I do not practice the dark arts. However, what if I were to tell you that all of your passwords, every site you visited, every email you typed, every picture you've seen in the last 10 minutes now belong to me? Now with the use of this small little device here, I was able to capture and intercept that which you hold most dearest to you, your privacy and security. Quite a scary thought, huh? Well, be rest assured, guys, the device is off and nothing was actually captured. However, this is a perfect segue into the talk that I'm going to be talking today about the ever-evolving threat landscape which we face on a daily basis. So in order to do that, I'd like to take you back in time. For some reason. Oh, actually, you know what? My bad. I forgot to plug this in. Guys. Exactly. Is it plugged in? There we go. Sorry for the setback, guys. Come on. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So the time is 1960, Switzerland. This is a story about watchmakers. This is a story about a paradigm shift. And something very interesting happens when paradigm shift is that everything gets reset back to zero. The game changes. The rules change. That what worked today will not work tomorrow and vice versa. And we see this here in the Swiss history. The Swiss were known not only for their delicious chocolates, but also their phenomenal watches in which they built. Now guys, this market, which they dominated for over 100 years, has seen many adverse circumstances. They were able to withstand wars, famine, and depressions, and still be able to detain 80% of the market. They were in a very comfortable place. They didn't need to change anything. They didn't need to see what was going on in the market. They were the market owners. 80% of the market belonged to them. And guys, this little crystal, the quartz crystal, was able to change their game forever. Because you see, the quartz crystal, a Japanese company by the name of Seiko, was able to produce a watch which was 1,000 times more precise than those developed by the Swiss. If only the Swiss were able to foresee this risk, things could have been a lot different. Not even the best watchmakers were able to stop time. Now guys, a similar paradigm shift happened in the art of protection. And when we stop and think about protection systems and defense architecture, our minds for some reason go back to castles and fortified perimeters. Well, it is true that back in the day, this used to be the de facto standard of security, back in the medieval times, where the only risks that they were concerned about were those produced by arrows, by spears, and by lances. And they were great. However, these stone structures, they were extremely rigid. They were extremely hard to build, and also kings and queens were in charge, so that was another problem. Well, guys, just like in the Swiss story, the paradigm has changed. And this rigid device was unable to withstand the advances of warfare. And thanks to the French, they started using cannons in warfare, and that what was the de facto standard had become a steaming pile of rubble. But guys, for some odd reason, we still love castles. And we build them for our own entertainment. So, in some place, we had the brilliant idea of saying, hey, you know, when we want to protect our networks, let us do the same thing that we used to do to protect our realms. Let us build a wall, but not a wall made out of stone, but let us make a wall called a firewall. So back in the day, you know, one would actually get this device and plug it in the front of their network and say, okay, now we're safe, we're secure. Guys, again, the paradigm shifted. And all those expensive firewalls that they put in front were unable to protect them. And we see, if you stop and look in history, actually, just last year, how many companies were hacked? How many breaches happened? They all had firewalls. They all had the best bells and whistles out there, and still were hacked. Guys, a paradigm shift has happened. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen today. It didn't happen yesterday. It happened a long time ago, guys. And that is the actual reason for this talk, because there needs to be a change in mentality. We have to stop thinking that our attacker is some type of nerd living in his parents' basement. We need to understand that we're dealing with highly motivated, highly skilled individuals whose sole purpose is financial gain. As you can see, cybercrime is more lucrative than the global drug trade. Pablo Escobar knew how to hack. So guys, that is what we need to understand today. What is being exploited today is not the latest firewall. It is not your version of Windows or so on and so forth. What's being exploited today is something that me and you have in common, is our mind. And guys, we sometimes underestimate the power of our mind. You know, back in 2013, there was a research in which they tried to simulate human brain activity. And it took the most powerful computer in the world 40 minutes to emulate 1 second of brain activity. Guys, don't underestimate your mind. Don't underestimate your brain. We have to stop and think about the threats we face nowadays. The attacker is attacking your mind. They are attacking your circle of trust. There is a proverb in security that says that security is as strong as your weakest link. Don't let yourself be the weakest link. You are as weak as you think you are. So guys, the exploitation of the human brain is not something new. Actually, back in 1900s, this man by the name of Victor Lustig, he was able to do the unimaginable. He was able to sell the Eiffel Tower not once, not twice, but almost 3 times. How can you sell the Eiffel Tower? The other question is, who would buy something like that? However, guys, up until today, we are still being sold Eiffel Towers. Up until today, we're falling for the same mistakes, just like the one I just told you. The attacker is not going to try and offer you a Best Buy gift certificate or click here to get a free iPad. The things have become more personal. They want to exploit your realm of trust, what you believe in, who are your contacts. Be careful what you put out there, because it will be used against you, just like the Miranda rights. Everything you say. So guys, we had a case here at Global Cash Card not too long ago about exactly one of these exploits. And if we didn't have mechanisms in place, if we didn't have things to be able to detect, deter, we would have been in dire straits. So guys, unfortunately, the exploits of the mind is not the only types of attacks that we receive on a day-to-day basis. We receive a myriad of different exploits. And that is why every code that we develop, be it for mobile, be it for web, gets full security testing and vetting before it goes out to production. Because we are publishing out to the world a front door. We are inviting people to come into our infrastructure, and if we're not prepared, they can do a lot of damage. The good old days. And you guys will, the baby boomers are actually going to agree with me. When phones used to be phones, guys, we need to change that mentality again. We cannot classify our smartphones as phones. These are highly interconnected devices on 24 hours, 365 days a year, which have sensitive information, sometimes even more sensitive than your actual desktop. And many times, we open it up to the world by giving them excessive privileges. You see, there was a couple years back a case in which there was a flashlight app case. And this flashlight app case did nothing more, nothing less than what it says. It turns on the light of your phone. The problem is, in order to do that, it required permissions to your camera, permissions to your microphone, permissions to your contacts. Why does a flashlight need to access your camera? And because of that, a lot of people, more than 1 million people, downloaded this app and gave this app full reign over their phones. We need to understand that privilege is something that we need to hold dearly to us. We need to question these permissions. We need to understand and say, why does this application want so much privileges? And we have to be the filter on that. Remember, guys, there is no free cost. There's no free dinner. Everything comes with a cost, be it hidden or not. And I would like to, I would like to show you guys an example of one of these apps that sometimes we forfeit our security, sometimes we forfeit our protection because of 99 cents. So I'm going to show you the damages that a malicious application can do to your phone. So guys, this is a demo. You know how demos go, huh? So let's see here. You guys see my screen? Okay, let's turn on. Let's see, movie recording. That should show up. Okay, perfect. Okay, can we get the attacker machine up and running? How about that? Because attacker machines need passwords too. And the correct password. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I created a malicious application. I'm creating a handler so I can connect back. So this is the attacker's perspective, and this is the victim perspective. Okay, get that to the side here. So, of course, can't reach Google. Okay, guys. So I got this malicious application here. It's ready to go. I'm not going to show you my password. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Android market, and I see that there's this game called Angry Birds, and you know I'm just dying to play for it. I don't want to pay 99 cents to get the full unlocked version. So I'm actually going to torrent this, or I'll actually go to this website and download it. I'm going to say, hey, you sure you want to proceed or replace the file? I'm going to open it because you know I just want to play this game. Now, guys, look at the permissions it needs. A lot of permissions. And when I click install, it's installing this malicious application. You're going to see something interesting here on the attacker machine. Come on. I'm going to get a stronger phone. Okay, open. Perfect. So right here, now I have total access to this phone. Look at what I can do. I can turn on the camera remotely. And if you look at the application, nothing, it doesn't show up my camera. But let me just stop this here. Sorry. My camera, anyway. Nothing shows up here on the actual device. However, now the attacker has full control over the phone. I can turn on the camera. I can turn on the microphone. I can listen to what you're saying. I can turn on the camera when you're least suspecting. I can read your SMSs. I can make calls as if I were you. I can send messages as if I were you. I have full control because of 99 cents, guys. So I urge you guys, together with me, help me fight this battle. And with what we learned here today, let's go be more secure.
I gotta say, on behalf of the entire company, you being on the front lines of security, there's a comforting anger about you. Thank you so much. Necessary. So if you don't